Hi, good evening, everybody. Welcome to the Dharma for Difficult Times. And I think some of you guys may be expecting Pastor Neral, but he's still not feeling well. So I'm taking over. So just give me a moment. Let me refresh my screen and, to get my bearings right. Let me see if I'm online. I should be online, right? Let me refresh my screen. Today we're still going to continue on with the Je Tsongkhapa thing, the biography. It's taking awfully long to refresh the screen. Here we go. It's going. So anyway, while waiting for the screen to refresh, let me see if I'm online. Oh yes, I'm online. Hi, welcome. Good evening, everybody. Good, I'm online. I just had to make sure that I'm online because I'm doing this. It's a one-man show, so I press the button on my phone and then I can't see whether I'm online or not until I refresh my screen. Good evening, everybody. So we'll be continuing on with yesterday's topic on Lama Tsongkhapa's biography. So, we covered who Lama Tsongkhapa is from his birth, his miraculous birth, the miraculous signs, his early childhood, all the way to him seeking teachings from various teachers. And we mentioned a number of important teachers like Dondrup Rinchen, his first teacher, and then Rendawa, and then Lama Umapa, and the Vajrapani teacher, I can't remember his name. Let me see. Okay, let me pull out the screen for the biography first. Right. So sorry because it's. I wonder how I can do this. Split the screen into two so I can see you and also see the biography. Okay, I think I can. So if you have any questions about yesterday, let me know. Or maybe nothing really. Oh, I've managed to do it. Okay, let's see who's online. Hello, Mr. Lam, Kin Ho, and David Chu, and Martin Chow, along with Yu Sing and a host of other people online. So today we'll be continuing on the biography, right? So I read halfway yesterday, and then we were discussing about it, and I hoped I was able to convey the significance of major aspects of his life. So, it's not just a story, not just a bunch of Tibetan teachers and Tibetan names. And I feel that the biography doesn't convey, because of the technical nature of it, because there's a lot of terms, he received these teachings, he received that teachings, he meditated on this deity, and then the meaning and the significance might have been lost. So that's why I wanted to make sure that you guys are okay with it. Hello, Tatsa Ong, and Ong rather, you and Ken, Chun Kong, hello, and LC. Yeah, LC, yes, it was supposed to be Pastor, but he's not feeling well. Hopefully by tomorrow, he's not been feeling well for the last couple of days. So hopefully by tomorrow, if he's better, then he'll be taking over for tomorrow. Otherwise, it'll be me again. I'll think of something. Probably I'll be talking about iconography. Yeah, that's my favorite subject, iconography of statues, instead of, the usual thing. Right, so where were we? We were talking about his various teachers. Who's the teacher? The Nangka Gyaltsen, yeah, the Vajrapani, the one who has visions of Vajrapani and was able to consult Vajrapani on behalf of Lama Tsongkhapa. So those were basically his main teachers that were significant. He has many, I think up to 50 teachers. Wow, can you imagine if all of us are 50 teachers? For Lama Tsongkhapa, for Lama Tsongkhapa, an attained being, he's able to receive the teachings, contemplate, meditate, and gain attainments, and master the teachings. For us, even Rinpoche giving us the teachings that he did, we are still not able to master it, and so it's no point for us to go look for another teacher. So don't have, oh, because Lama Tsongkhapa did it, then I can do it as well. It's not recommended, because it would be the reason why you go to a teacher is to get teachings, and the reason why you want to get teachings is so that you can gain a team. So you can gain some sort of result. Result from your practice. So if you haven't been able to master the teachings yet, you haven't been able to master your issues and train your mind and develop some sort of a result attainment, then it's not feasible to go to many teachers, because each teacher have a different method, different way of presenting the teachings. All Buddhist teachers will present the teachings according to the Buddha, but the way they teach, the presentation, the method, the meditation is all different. So it will be confusing for people. So it's not recommended because of that. Unless you are attained, unless you are able to master the teachings, you are an exceptional student. Otherwise, it would not be recommended, because, when you go to teach, some teachers, they give a lot of initiations, a lot of practices, and then when you go and receive the teachings and you do the initiation, which is a ceremony in which you receive a particular practice, and then you have a commitment, to the Lama to do that practice, and if you don't, then you break your commitments. So who else is on? Jillian Lin. Hello, good evening. Pastor Hani, Yvonne, Newman. Yeah, it was supposed to be Pastor Neural. He's not feeling well today, so it's me. And let's see. Okay, I've read all the way to him receiving teachings, and then him gaining attainments. When he was meditating on after receiving teachings on the higher teachings on philosophy, on Madhyamaka, emptiness basically. Okay, and then he was meditating, and he found some of the subtle means a finer aspect of more advanced set of teachings that he couldn't fully able to meditate on, to gain some sort of realization from it. So he asked Manjushri, and Manjushri told him, don't just meditate on the teachings. You have to do practices to accumulate merit. So what he did was he gathered a bunch of his students, his closest students, and he entered into a retreat where he did 3.5 million prostrations and a lot of mandala offerings and all that. Preliminary practices basically. So when he finished, he gained a attainment. And that was symbolized by a vision of the Buddhas and the Indian masters. The 35 confessional Buddhas appeared to him, and Indian masters and several other deities, Buddha deities, so appeared to him. And that usually in the biographies is like that. When you read any biography of a High Lama and they say, they did the meditation, they did the retreat, they did the practice, and then they gain a vision of the Buddha, it's not just they see a Buddha, As I said yesterday, it is a indication that they have gained a certain attainments from the practice, the meditation practice of that particular deity. So as a result of their attainment, they gain a vision of the Buddha. All right? So it's not just simply, wow, it's a fanciful vision and that's it. It's not. It's more than that. So Lama Tsongkhapa gained attainments after that retreat. And immediately after, he came to a temple, and a dilapidated temple, a temple that was ruined. And there was a statue of Maitreya there, and he felt really sad, so he restored it. And that was considered the first of his greatest deeds. There are 4 of them. So that is at Zinji. Okay, so that has particular significance in the sense that his practice, he himself is all very deeply connected with Maitreya, and hence when we do a Guru Yoga, where we not consult but we invoke Lama Tsongkhapa. Remember when we do Guru Ganden Laji Konji Tokani, when we recite the first verse of the Guru Yoga from Tushita, which is Ganden, you invite Lama Tsongkhapa to come forth from the heart of Maitreya. So at the end of the practice, we also we visualize the cloud linking all the way to the heart. Why Maitreya? Maitreya is very significant for us is because he's the next Buddha. He is the next Buddha to come. Not that there are no Buddhas, there are emanations of Buddhas right now, but he's a different type of Buddha. Maitreya will be a Buddha that will manifest complete enlightenment, and he'll be a wheel-turning Buddha. Wheel-turning Buddha means he'll be the next Buddha to teach from his enlightenment. Okay, so when he teach, right, it'll be like Shakyamuni, Buddha Shakyamuni, the historical Buddha. We are our time. The teachings that we have, Buddhism in this world, arose from the historical Buddha, and his name is Shakyamuni. So in India, he gained enlightenment in Bodh Gaya, and then from there, he went off to Sarnath and he gave his first teaching, and from his teachings, from his followers, became, Buddhism as we know today. So our current set of teachings, Buddhism in the world, is from Buddha Shakyamuni. But Buddha said in the past, there were actually other Buddhas who gained enlightenment just like me and taught. And he said he's the fourth in line, if I remember correctly. Yeah, fourth. Okay, and then the next one will be will be Maitreya. All right, so everybody understand that? So there's deep significance. Why Maitreya is significant is, Rinpoche said it's what I would call it an insurance policy. When you do Guru Yoga, Lama Tsongkhapa, why we want to connect to Maitreya is so that in case we don't get enlightened, which is most likely we will not in this life. I don't know about you guys. I don't see any, I'm not particularly exceptional, and I don't know whether you guys are. So I cannot really say you are, but from the looks of it, none of us are at the moment. We're not exceptional where we gain enlightenment in this lifetime. So what happens is, since we will not, what will assure us that we will gain enlightenment in the future? Because you don't know our karma. Next life, maybe we'll be born in a place where there's no Buddhism. There's no way to practice the Dharma. Maybe we're born in a country where the religion doesn't promote virtuous thought, whatever it is. So there's a high chance of it, and we could be born in another realm. We could be born as an animal. We can be born as a spirit. There's a high chance we're born as. Actually, Rinpoche did say it's a bit scary, but Rinpoche did say many of us will be reborn as animals, and it's no fun. You don't think, oh, you're going to be born as an animal means, oh, you hope that you're born a cute little puppy, and that's no fun because firstly you have no control. Secondly, you cannot express much except barking. And all you can think of is food. Food, procreation, bubalila, procreation, more food, and survival. So there's no room for higher thought. And as animals, we are plagued by, as Pastor Nero had mentioned in his talk. So, So, anyway, before I digress further, so I was trying to give you a significance of the Zinji, the first of his greatest deed, when he restored the temple, the Maitreya statue in Zinji. All right, and then the second deed was he went to a monastery, a very famous monastery at that time called Namsiting, and he gave a very powerful, beautiful teaching on the Vinaya. So that laid the foundation for his followers to have emphasis on monasticism. What is monasticism? Being monks and nuns, holding onto vows. So he said that his teachings was very, very powerful, very moving, and that became his second greatest deed. Okay, so in the Gelug tradition, in a tradition that we belong to, right, there's a heavy emphasis on monasticism, on monks and nuns. Not that we all have to be monks and nuns to practice, but it is important for any place for the Dharma to grow. There must be presence of Sangha. Monks and nuns, Sangha means monks and nuns. So what happens is when there's monks and when there's monasticism, when there's monks, there's nuns, then the Dharma will grow. That is something that is not by Lama Tsongkhapa, this is actually from the Buddha. Hence, a set of the Buddha's teachings is called the Vinaya. Okay, the Vinaya is focusing on that, on their conduct and why there's so many restrictions, what's the meaning of the restrictions, and how does it apply to a person and how they practice. So it's a whole set of teachings that as lay people we do not study, we do not practice, simply because we're not monks and nuns. So our version of it is actually the Pratimoksha, which is the refuge, the Bodhisattva and all that, the one that we normally practice for as lay practitioners. All right. Okay, Using here has this to say, a question rather. Pastor, who composed Lama Tsongkhapa's Guru Yuga prayers? Who were the first to start the sadhana to Lama Tsongkhapa? Okay, there's two different things what you're talking about. Let me explain. Okay, there is the Ganden Lagyama, which is the 100 of deities of Tushita. Okay, that's in other words also is translated as Guru Yoga of Lama Tsongkhapa. That's one practice. Okay, there are various sadhanas. Taking Lama Tsongkhapa as a yidam. So the sadhana is a different thing. So, okay, sadhana one I do not know. Ganden Lagyama I can tell you. Okay, Ganden Lagyama or the Guru Yoga of Lama Tsongkhapa, it arose from Manjushri. Yeah, it is said that the earlier tradition of it arose from oral lineage. It was passed down from Manjushri to Lama Tsongkhapa, yes, to Lama Tsongkhapa, and from Lama Tsongkhapa was passed down to, I think by way of Kedrubje, which is the first Panchen Lama, and downwards. That time it was never written down. It was only later it was written down. So when it was written down, it was first written down by one of the later lamas. I cannot remember the names now because there's a lot of different lamas, and it was from the Segyu lineage. Se is a place, a location in Tibet, and Gyu is lineage. So it comes from there. But originally it came from Manjushri. He taught it. He taught even the Miksema. The Miksema was composed by Lama Tsongkhapa to Rendawa. And then Rendawa changed it and returned it to Lama Tsongkhapa. And so Lama Tsongkhapa didn't do anything, So what happened is Manjushri took it and passed it down as a lineage through Lama Tsongkhapa downwards. Okay, all this is in what we call a Ganden lineage. There's a name for it. Ensa Whisper lineage. There's several names for it. So it came down in this manner. All right. But the Guru Yoga of Lama Tsongkhapa, the lineage is from the Se region. So it's called the Segyu lineage. So original one, it was Manjushri. Okay, not many people know this, but I'm letting you know. All right. Anyway, so that's the second greatest deed. He taught the Vinaya. Lama Tsongkhapa taught the Vinaya, and then and also he started after the deed at restoring the temple at Zinji of the Maitreya statue. Apparently, there's a shift in Lama Tsongkhapa of what he did in life, because before that Lama Tsongkhapa was always receiving teachings from various teachers. He went from one monastery to another. He traveled a lot. He went to different monasteries collecting a lot of teachings, and he had phenomenal memory. He would memorize the teachings, and then he would meditate. So that retreat and that miracle, the great deed, ended that period of his life, and it started a new period of his life where he started to teach more and to write more. And also he composed the Lamrim Chenmo. Okay, the Lamrim Chenmo. And then he wrote some other texts, various there's different, in fact, there's a short Lamrim, there's a medium Lamrim, and there's the great Lamrim, right? The big Lamrim. And also he wrote the Ngarim Chenmo. Ngarim Chenmo is a tantric version of the Lamrim Chenmo. Okay, so instead of all the sutric teachings inside the Ngarim Chenmo is focusing only on Tantra. Okay, and then he also wrote other texts. Actually, okay, now it comes to the point where I stop reading, and I will continue from here. Any questions so far? So everybody understand that Lama Tsongkhapa's life, why is he significant? He's the founder of our tradition. He's an emanation of Manjushri, all right? And being an emanation of Manjushri, he was unique in a sense that he was able to grasp the teachings incredibly powerfully, and he was able to teach them. And it said that he's so scholarly. You know, the Lamrim that he wrote, every topic is chock full of quotes from various sutras. He used various sutras to back up what he was explaining. And on top of that, he had tremendous memory. Even when he teach, he don't teach by referring to text, he teach by memory, and he will quote to you. And he was an exceptional debater, which is not really mentioned in this biography, but it was said that when he debated when he was young, right, in the monastery, in some of the monasteries, he would go for debating examinations. And in debate, I don't know if you've seen how Tibetan monks debate. It is a very rowdy experience, So there'll be one party will be the Buddhists. The other party would be the non-Buddhists, so they would argue a point. For example, death and impermanence, or karma. So the particular topic they will choose, and then the non-Buddhists will try to disprove the existence of death and impermanence, and then the other one or karma, disprove karma, and then the Buddhist opponent would try to uphold it and try to defend. All right, so during that time, many monks lose their temper. Okay, it happens because the way they do the debate, the structure of it is when they want to stress a point, they will clap, and then they will stress a point, and then they will talk very fast, and then for example, when we debate with our friends and family, about a point, and then sometimes when we do it very passionately, it becomes, emotional. We get pissed off, we get annoyed. So it happens. But Lama Tsongkhapa is known to never ever lose his cool. He will never lose his temper. He will never lose his cool, and he's always spot on. All right, a fantastic debater. Song Rinpoche is also like that. It is said. Song Rinpoche is Rinpoche's teacher. He's also another exceptional debater. And when he debated, Rinpoche said, our Rinpoche, Tem Rinpoche said that Song Rinpoche had a reputation where he's such a good debater that even as a non-Buddhist opponent in the debate, right, he would actually be able to convince you that black is white, or the other way around, or white is black. So something that is a fact, by his skill of debate, he can convince you to say that it is actually not black, it is white. So, it is just symbolic of how good of a debater he is. So I don't know whether this has any significance to you, but it's important as to understand, because as a teacher, when you're good in debating, right, you're able to convince people, you're able to present the teachings in such a way that will fit the audience, the students. And I remember Rinpoche said this once: debate is a powerful way to understand a subject matter. Why? It's because a lot of the teachings are not easy to, when you read it, it's just knowledge. So it's just one-dimensional or two-dimensional knowledge. You don't see it from different angles. So when people present you with questions from a different angle, you get stumped, and then you're unable to answer their questions now. So it's when you debate, you gain, because the questions will come from all angles, So what happens is you refine your understanding to such a point where it's very easy to gain attainments. And there are some masters, some debaters, some great lamas who gain enlightenment or realization just on, by debating on the debate floor. There's a master called Geshe Rabten. He is he's of recent times, and he's not from a very old, from a very long time ago. From recent times, it is said that he gained attainment on the debate while debating. The Tibetan way, the debate is very loud, noisy, and then it's usually one against a group of monks, So and then they will be, all sorts of points come back and forth. I mean, I've seen it once, lah, but they were all debating in Tibetan, so I didn't fully understand. But I grasped the concept. All right. So everybody is, I see a lot of people, but I don't know whether you guys are, if it makes any sense to you guys what I'm saying. So feel free to ask me any questions whatsoever. Oh, now I understand why you guys are quiet. Let me put in the biography so you know what I'm reading. Okay, I'm going to put it there. Okay, I just put in the biography, the link. I'm reading the biography from this link. All right, so if you open, what happens is you don't, it's not from the introduction section, okay? It's on the first, when you scroll down, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, all the tankas. It's on the bio section, a brief biography of Lama Tsongkhapa, right? I'm all the way through to the bottom, almost, towards, if you scroll down towards, there's a picture of 3 Lama Tsongkhapa statues. It's somewhere there. Actually, it's just above that. Okay, there's a 3 paragraphs before that. All right. Have you guys clicked on it? If you have, you can follow me, or you can just listen. Up to you. No problem. It's not a problem. If you have any questions about this, why I bring up Lama Tsongkhapa is because I think we all should learn about him. We are in Kachara, and this is our tradition, and he is the founder of our tradition, and his teachings is the one that Dorje Shugden is protecting, and it's his lineage. It is, it's all about us. So I think, and I don't think we are very familiar with him. It's not anybody's fault. It's just that, because I remember when I first was new to Kachara and Rinpoche, I was really wow, So, and then I went to buy my first book on Lama Tsongkhapa. So when I opened the book, right, I think it was by Robert Thurman, Life and Teachings of Lama Tsongkhapa. When I opened the biography and I read it, I was like, oh my god, because I can read it. It's not difficult to read. It's just that some of the paragraphs is just littered with Sanskrit names, Tibetan names, and receiving these teachings. This happened, that happened, and it's like I couldn't relate to what was going on. So I was hoping to relate to you guys the biography, and I chose a biography that is semi-technical, and it has an interesting perspective of his life that's not in the other normal biographies. So I thought it would be interesting for you guys, and also it is good for you to know. Okay, this is your lineage, and we should try to know about Lama Tsongkhapa and not find it like, it's too deep for me. This is our tradition, this is our lineage, this is who we are, and you should know. Okay, just above the picture of the 3 statues of Lama Tsongkhapa, okay, there is 2 paragraphs above, all right? Tsongkhapa was a prolific author of tantric literature. As a companion volume to the Lamrim Chenmo, Tsongkhapa wrote the Ngarim Chenmo, the great treatise on the tantric stages of the path to enlightenment, in 1405, covering all 4 classes of tantra according to the Sama traditions, and with detailed explanations of 2 stages of Anuttara Yoga Tantra. Other important tantric works include his works on Guhya Samaja, especially his 1401 commentary on the Vajrajana Samuchaya Nama Tantra, and in 1411, exposition of the 5 stages of Guhya Samaja Tantra. Texts on the Guhya Samaja Tantra feature prominently in Tsongkhapa's collected works, making up the majority of 18 volumes of writings. Okay, so Tantra, as you might know or might not know, it is Machong, it is Mijong, which is the esoteric teachings of the Buddha. And it has 2 parts to it, which is, one part of it is the philosophy surrounding it, and the other part is all the practices, the meditations, and the 4 classes of Tantra. Each class of Tantra is just a level of meditation, and each meditation is usually revolve around a deity, okay, a deity, and So that's why we have initiations of various deities, so that when you receive the practice of a deity and the mantra, there are certain specific things you have to, a sadhana lah. The sadhana is the formula or the method of meditating. So meditation doesn't have to be just on the breath. Meditation can be on the form of the Buddha statue, the Buddha image, all right? And then when you visualize, and then there are specific way to visualize the deity and all that. And then when you do it and you recite the mantra, it has powerful effect on our mind. Very powerful. And that is a form of meditation. The sadhana itself is a meditation. Don't think it's not meditation, only the breath meditation is meditation. No. Meditation is just a word to mean focusing and familiarizing yourself with a particular object. So the object is the breath, which is really doesn't make any, actually has no intrinsic value, like in the sense that it doesn't, you don't collect merits from it. It's not really anything positive or negative, it's just neutral. But what happens is when you do it over time, it's something taught by the Buddha, so it's very powerful. It has certain blessings. So when you focus on the breath, you develop concentration. It is from the concentration that will be beneficial for you. It's not the breath. On the other hand, if you're meditating on a form of a Buddha, just looking at the Buddha has plants seeds in your mind, good imprints into your mind, okay? And then when you recite the mantra, also imprints on your mind. And if you do the visualizations and the sadhanas correctly, and you receive the practice from your teacher, in initiation, then it has tremendous amount of blessings and effect on your mind when you do it. All right. Any questions about that? I don't know if that's too complicated of an explanation for you guys. I think it should be okay, right? Okay, so next one. By this time, Tsongkhapa's fame as a great scholar and a realized practitioner had grown all over Tibet, and even China. In 1408, the Yongle Emperor of the Chinese Ming Dynasty sent an invitation to Tsongkhapa to visit his court and capital in Nanjing. Tsongkhapa refused, and a second invitation was sent in 1413. Although Tsongkhapa again refused, he delegated his student Sakya Yeshe to go in his stead. Sakya Yeshe had a successful trip to China, receiving his title of Jamchen Shoje from the emperor. The materials he received as offerings enabled him to establish Sera Monastery. That's how Sera was formed in 1419. Following the death of the Yongle Emperor in 1424, Sakya Yeshe visited the Suanda Emperor new capital in Beijing. Through these visits, the first links between Tsongkhapa's tradition and emperors of China were established and would last until the fall of the Manchu Qing dynasty in 1911. So this part is a significant part of Lama Tsongkhapa's life. It is a part where he developed a very strong connection to China, and it also shows Lama Tsongkhapa's quality of renunciation, his quality as a pure monk, of a pure hermit, and he didn't want to go to China because he didn't want. Once you go to China, you're put on a high throne. You're given a lot of money, a lot of gifts, servants, everything you want to eat, you want to do, it's all provided. So every Lama in Tibet want that. Every Lama, I mean the lower Lamas, not the attained ones, of course. Everybody wants that kind of treatment. And you're given the imperial royal treatment. In that time, in those days, there's no one richer than the Chinese emperor. All right? So this is usually, this story of Lama Tsongkhapa is usually quoted as an example of Lama Tsongkhapa's renunciation, and also for us to contemplate for us when we are given an opportunity to shine, when we're given an opportunity to do something that will make us look good. How we work so hard just to look good, just to receive the limelight. Some of us work for years, months and days on whatever, our careers. Not all of us are motivated by money. Some of us are motivated by fame, by limelight. by looking good. Some of us would do all sorts of things. And so this reminds us of that. Reminds us of that kind of to have that kind of renunciation, to understand that the lamas, their life as an attained being is an opposite of what we normally do. And it also, all the problems that are associated with what we are experiencing now comes from that. Of us seeking fame, of us wanting to look good. What we always, everything, what we want, we do so much, we sacrifice so much just to look good. And in the end, we get a praise, maybe we get some money, maybe we get a, girlfriend, boyfriend, husband, wife, and then, but that's for the while. Then when we don't look good already, then what happens to this? So my point in trying to tell you is that actually more important in this case is not so much as that. More importantly is when we do the Dharma, when we do, let's say, because all of us here, I think my audience here is more or less in some sort of spiritual practice in Kachara, I think, and from various, some of us are regulars, some of us are not so regular. And then what happens is when we come to Kachara, or when we do our work, maybe not even just in Dharma, but we want some sort of recognition from it. We want to look good, especially we work hard for it. And not all the times we get it. And when we don't get it, what happens? Some of us are very upset. Some of us feel we wasted our time, especially when we do in Dharma, because we don't get paid, right? Some of us don't get paid. Some of us do a stipend or whatever it is, doesn't matter. But when we do some project, we do something, and then we get all this adulation. Well done. So Lama Tsongkhapa shuns that. He ran away. In fact, it's not just he ran away. No one told him, that the delegation is coming. He just knew. So it shows his clairvoyance. He knew, so he went into hiding. So he literally hid from the Chinese delegation, and he didn't want that sort of fame. He doesn't want it at all. That shows you who Lama Tsongkhapa is. All right? Okay. Kelvin Tan, hello. Joy, hello. What do you mean by okay, can? Is it in response to something else? No, I don't know. I don't see what you're saying okay, can means. Anyway, Mr. Lam, you have a comment here, question. During the lifetime of Lama Tsongkhapa, which protector did he propitiate, or he did not need to propitiate any protector? Okay, actually, for himself, he doesn't really need any protector. Any attained being don't need a protector. That's why for Dorje Shukden, right, when you receive his life entrustment initiation, the vow that we take is that he takes and we take is that he will protect us until we achieve bodhicitta. Because when you achieve real great compassion, right, once you have achieved that, you don't need protector and you don't need protection. You can, in fact, you will protect others. All right. So what happens is Lama Tsongkhapa was given 3 protectors. They are the Lamrim protectors now. Okay, in case you don't know who they are, Kalarupa, Vaishravana, and Mahakala, 6-armed Mahakala. Vaishravana is Namtose. Okay, he looks like Zambala, but he's on a snow lion holding a, a victory banner. And then there's Kalarupa, of course, the bull face protector on with a consort and on a bull, right? And then the last one is Mahakala, which is 6-armed Mahakala, the 6-armed Mahakala. So this 3 protectors is now known as the Lamrim protectors because they cover the 3 scopes. Okay, because in the Lamrim, the teachings is divided into 3 scopes: the lower, medium, middling, and the higher scope. If you study Lamrim, you know what I'm talking about. If you don't, then I won't go into it because it's too much at this point. All right, so just understand is that those are the protectors of Lama Tsongkhapa. It was given by who? Don Drut Rinchen. As far as I know, I don't recall Lama Tsongkhapa ever practicing other protectors that I perhaps were his lifetime protectors. Okay, I could be wrong. If you find otherwise, you can let me know. Anyway, let's get back to the story, right? So, okay, the picture of the three statues just under the picture is where I am right now. Okay, in 1409, Tsongkhapa instituted the Monlam Chenmo, or Great Prayer Festival in Lhasa, which is celebrated around the time of the Tibetan New Year, or Losar. The celebration is traditionally centered on the Jokang temple in Lhasa and is counted as being Tsongkhapa's third great deed. At this time, he also offered jewel ornaments and a crown to the statue of Jowo Shakyamuni, the most sacred statue in the Jokang and the whole of Tibet. By offering these ornaments, the statue was transformed from being a Nirmanakaya representation of the Buddha Shakyamuni to one representing the Sambhogakaya manifestation. Let me explain this part, okay? Monlam just means prayer. So Monlam Chenmo is great prayer. Basically, it's a great prayer festival. So he was the first to start this tradition. So what is this tradition? It is a celebration. So it's different from a normal lay type of celebration like Chinese New Year, where we celebrate by eating and feasting and visiting relatives and all that. It's all lay methods of celebrating. The festival that he's instituted, a celebration, was a spiritual kind. So it was a time of festivities in a sense that people go to the temples, they make offerings. I mean, during Chinese New Year also they do, but it's a more of a lay aspect. But in the Tibetan tradition, the Monlam Chenmo is a spiritual celebration. So the spirituality of this celebration is expressed, is celebrated by going to the monasteries, going to the temples to make offerings. So the Tibetan lay people, especially, they go to the rich, to the poor, they will go to the temples, they go to their teachers to make offerings, to kata, donations, go receive teachings, sponsor pujas, sponsor, in the temples, there's a lot of statues. And the Tibetans, what they do is they like to offer gold onto the face. And the gold that they offer on the face it's not plated, it is gold dust. I think mixed with glue and all that. And then it's applied like paint. In Thailand it's similar, but they use gold leaf, so it's pasted on the statues. But this one is gold paint. So very old Tibetan statues, if you look at the face, right, it's very rough. From far away it looks smooth, but when you come closer it looks rough because it's years and years, centuries of people offering gold onto the face. Once they offer gold, they repaint the features, so it looks like it's new. All right. So during that time, that's what they did. And let me see, I think I have a comment, but I'll read it later by Chung. So Monlam Chenmo was started by that. And what I heard is the other traditions, aside from the Gelug tradition, also adopted this practice in celebrating Monlam. All right. And this is considered his greatest deed. And one of the things he did during this time was Jo Rinpoche. Jo Rinpoche in Tibet is a statue of the Buddha that is considered the holiest, the most sacred Buddha statue of the historical Buddha. So there's a lot of stories, miraculous stories of how, he's special. And this statue is special and sacred. And in the minds of the Tibetans, it's not just he's a very old statue, because there are many, many old statues in Tibet. But this one, and everybody consider him to be the holiest, the most sacred. So it has a certain power and draw. So what happened is Lama Tsongkhapa made offerings to it. And he offered, firstly, unusually, a crown. Okay, and then necklaces. If you go to Jokang today, the statue still exists, and if you go there and you see all this jewelry, the necklace, not necklace, the what do you call it, the crown and the ornaments all over the Buddha Shakyamuni. The original piece, I don't know what the current one is, the original piece, right, was offered by Lama Tsongkhapa. All right? And this one gives a very technical explanation. It says that it transformed the Buddha from a Nirmanakaya to a Sambhogakaya. So to you, you probably don't know what it's talking about. The Buddha can appear in three ways. So as a human being, the Buddha, the historical Buddha, he's considered a Nirmanakaya form. Sambhogakaya is when it's another level of Buddhahood where they appear in what you call enjoyment body. Sambhogakaya literally means enjoyment body. All right. So what happens is, like Manjushri and all that, there's scars, and their jewelry, they're youthful, they're 16-year-old, they're beautiful. And what that manifestation of an enlightened mind means, they're showing you their attainments. All right. So usually they wear jewelry and all that. That's why there's crowns and all that. So when the Buddha, when Lama Tsongkhapa offered the crown and jewelry to Lama Tsongkhapa, what the meaning of it is, he has created a cause for his lineage and traditions to last for a very long time. Because as a Dhammanikaya, as a normal, as a human Buddha, he will pass away. In that form of enjoyment body, there's no age. All right, he will last for a long, long time. So it is said that he had created a cause for his teachings to last a very long time. And that became his greatest deed. Not that so much as just the act of it is actually the festival, but out of the festival, he did this. And out of this had this huge significance. That's why in all the biographies is mentioned this. The crown and the jewelry was offered by Lama Tsongkhapa because it has huge significance. That I find it unusual that not much is explained about it. All right? Okay, let me see a lot of comments. Kelvin, you asking if you understand. Oops, sorry. Oh yeah, okay. Chung says, other prophecies of Lama Tsongkhapa's birth according to Gelek Rinpoche mentioned by Sangha. Right. Okay, very nice. You guys can read it. Other prophecies of how Lama Tsongkhapa, would appear, prophesied by other great masters. All right. So, but right now we're on his other deeds and of his. Okay. So after that, okay, let's continue reading. Right. As at his students' request, Tsongkhapa established a monastery, which was consecrated in 1410, the year following the inauguration of the Monlam Chenmo. The monastery was given the name Ganden, the Tibetan translation of Tuchista, the pure land of the future Buddha Maitreya. The monastery would eventually become the largest monastery in Tibet, perhaps the world, and is considered the principal monastery of the Gelug tradition. It was Tsongkhapa's wish to construct three-dimensional representation of mandalas of his main three Anuttara Yoga Tantra deities, Guhya Samaja, Vajrabharava, and Chakrasambhara. Temples for these constructions were completed in 1415, and the mandalas and deities were installed in 1417. These acts are counted as Tsongkhapa's fourth great deed. He is counted as the first throne holder of Ganden, or the Ganden Tripa, a title held by successive abbots of the monastery. Okay, let me explain this part. The last of his great deeds, this is the last, right? Yeah, his last. The last of the four great deeds was the monastery was formed, and in the monastery, he built mandalas. What's a mandala? What kind of mandalas is he building? It's a three-dimensional mandala. I don't know if you have seen pictures of mandalas, right? Perhaps someone can post that later. A 3D mandala is because each deity has a special mandala. A mandala is a 3D representation of where they live. And usually it's symbolic. So the actual shape of the mandala is usually circular. Okay, circular. And then the palace, the abode of the deity, is a square in the middle. And it has four sides. And then the deity right in the middle is where the deity resides. And then around them are various the entourage, landscape symbols, and then the palace itself, is shaped, and there's different ornaments, and so basically this is the abode of the Buddha. So it can be, usually it's depicted 2D, it's drawn like circular, and then the square in the middle and the deity in the middle. Sometimes the deity is not even drawn. They'll just put the syllable of the deity or symbol of the deity. For example, a single Vajra for Yamataka. I remember seeing the Yamataka Bandala is single Vajra. And then for like Vajragini, it could be, in the center, could be the bum syllable, or it could be Vajragini drawn. And then, different mandalas have different representations. All right, so that is the 2D representation. The 3D representation is basically actually built in an encased area, a palace, completely with how it's described in the text. Why is this the greatest deed? Is because these three tantric systems is what Tsongkhapa, Je Tsongkhapa, okay, Lama Tsongkhapa, wanted his students to practice, wanted his lineage to be founded on. So it's Heruka, it's Yamataka, and it's Guhya Samaja. These are the three main tantric deity practices. So where does Vajragini fit in? Vajragini is a condensed, simplified form of Heruka. All right? And there are other tantric systems aside from this, but this is the one that Lama Tsongkhapa recommended his students in the future to practice. And it is still alive, very much alive. And it said that because he built all those things, he created a cause for his tradition to propagate this lineage. All right. So that became, all this is, you have to understand, it's a structure, it's a monastery, but from the monastery, many great lamas. And who founded Ganden it was offered to Lama Tsongkhapa. It is his monastery, but it was built by his student. Okay, the student built it. Then the student who built it was Dozin Drapa Gyaltsen. It was Doge Shugen's previous life. All right? Just to add to what your understanding of this. Any questions, please ask me. Anything to share, anything to add, right? If you can, it'll be nice. Any details lah? Okay, where was I? I'm close to the end. Then we can finish today, and then maybe if Pasner are still not well tomorrow, then we'll talk about iconography, just general Buddhist iconography. This is my favorite. Dying to talk about it, but we'll not tonight, of course. Let me see. Okay, the next one, the next paragraph. Tsongkhapa entered clear light in 1419 at Ganden Monastery, the year after he completed his composition of the Elucidation of the Thought in 1418. He was 62 years old and is believed to have attained enlightenment through yogic practices during the death process, attaining the illusory body. His body was entombed inside a jeweled stupa at Ganden. Tsongkhapa's death is commemorated with the annual festival at Ganden of Ganden Ngamche, which translates as the Ganden offering of the 25th, during which devotees light butter lamps on their roofs and window sills. Tsongkhapa designated Gyaltsab Je Dharma Rinchen as his successor, who in turn appointed Kedru Je Gyalak Pelsang as the next throne holder. Actually, this is an abbreviated version. Actually, it was said that they wanted Dozin to be the next Ganden Tripa, but he refused. He requested that Gyaltsab Je take on the role instead, because he wanted to go into retreat. All right. Apart from his own teachers, many of whom Tsongkhapa also taught in turn, Tsongkhapa had a number of other illustrious students. These include Gyaltsab, Kedrup, and Shakya Yeshe. His other students include Genden Drup, who was posthumously identified as the first Dalai Lama, and Jamyang Choje Tashi Pelden, the founder of Drepung Monastery in 1416. Today, Kedrup Je and Gyaltsab Je are considered to have been Tsongkhapa's foremost disciples, although whether or not this is actually true has been contested by modern scholarship. This is the part. Drapa Gyaltsen, a close disciple, for example, was relegated to a lesser status by later tradition. Nevertheless, all these students continued to spread Tsongkhapa's doctrine through their own teachings and writings, as well as other means such as the establishment of monasteries, allowing for the Guluk tradition to take shape. All right, so originally, the disciples of the Buddha, the disciples of Lama Tsongkhapa, called themselves the New Kadampa tradition. Yes, the New Kadampa tradition. So what happened is over time they decided to change it to Guluk, which literally means virtuous, right? And which is synonymous, which is it was a befitting title to the reputation, because the Guluks were focusing on monastics, on monks, and on people holding their vows, on humility. Even in the monasteries in Ganden, no one is allowed to ring the bell. No one is allowed to show yogic powers. Nobody, because many monks in the monasteries, right? Many of them have gained attainments, and they have psychic powers, they have psychic abilities as a side effect of their practice. So, and there's a ruling in the monasteries, that you're not allowed to show your psychic powers, especially in the presence of higher ranking or attained lamas. So, in the monastery, it's strictly not allowed, and everybody has to focus on the Vinaya, on holding the vows. Everybody have to have humility, and that was of utmost importance in this tradition, and it gained a lot of following, a lot of people supporting it, donors, sponsors, and eventually over time, what happens? The Dalai Lama's future later incarnations took power and established a reign over Tibet, a rulership over Tibet, and unified Tibet. Because at that time in Tibet, right, it was very fragmented. Before the Dalai Lama's reign, there were many smaller kings, chieftains lah. So they have their own little kingdom. Some of them are just city-states, one city and then one town and city, and it's one kingdom in itself. They have their own army and rule and monastery and tradition. Some of them are different traditions. So because of that, it was very fragmented, and there was often skirmishes, wars, and it was, you see, what happened is when there's a war in Tibet, a civil war, is very dangerous, because the first thing the invading army will do is to loot the temples, to loot the monasteries. And then for any tradition, like something newly established like the Guluk tradition, is very destabilizing for its survival of the Guluk tradition. So it was very timely that the Dalai Lama took power and established a rulership over Tibet, unified Tibet, and established a rulership over. So it established a kind of a peace, a stability over the land, so that this new tradition can take root and become established. All right. So let me know if you have any questions about this. And this is historical, by the way. What I'm telling you is historical, and at the same time, it is our tradition. And that's why the Guluk became the biggest tradition, the most widespread in Tibet. All right. And there's one more point I wanted to say. Oh yes, about Lama Tsongkhapa, how he passed away. Okay, when he passed away, there's a few things being said about it. When he passed away in full control. Many of the older lamas used to do that. What they do is they will manifest miracles through their passing away, meaning they will enter into meditation, sitting upright in meditation, and they passed away. And they passed away in full meditation, in full control. Other lamas these days, even Sam Rinpoche, they manifest their passing away through looks like natural ways, like they, in the hospital and all that. But because of the nature of the way they pass away, it's not an uncontrolled death. It is in full control. How is they enter into into what is known as tuktam, or clear light. All right, clear light death meditation. It is a process where, upon death, that means there's no breath, there's no heartbeat, but the chest is warm. Okay, the chest is warm, and there's no rigor mortis at all, so the limbs will remain pliable as if the lama is still asleep. It's just asleep. But there's no sign, no heartbeat, no breath. Sometimes, and this process can last for a few days, up to the longest I heard was 1 month. And that's the process that Lama Tsongkhapa went through. But he manifested by sitting in upright position and meditation. All right, and that means this Lama has full control of his death. So it was a planned death. And planned death meaning, what's a planned death means he had decided the time. Of course, the Lama will not tell you, Rinpoche will not tell you that, oh, I plan to die now and this is going to happen. Usually what happens is, why lamas do that is because they don't usually tell you when they're going to die, why they're going to die. Sometimes it's planned in their minds, in their planning, because there's a lot of things involved, like where they're going to take rebirth and the timing, and according to the feeling of the time, the karma of that time. So there's a lot of things at play that he's unable to express openly. So it is just done. And most important is the lamas always tell us, and the Lama Rinpoche already has told us that when he died, it will be total surprise for all of us. He said it for many, many years. I've heard it like at least 20, even the earlier days, up to 15 years. I think 14, 15 years, I started hearing Rinpoche talking about it already. So, and he always said it would be a total surprise. And he told me personally, he said that don't be surprised one day you come in, because I used to come in to see Rinpoche almost every other day, and you will see me dead, and it will be a total surprise. So usually they do that because they want, the death is the Lama's last teaching for us on impermanence. Because all of us will die one day. Death and impermanence is something that is a central theme in our teachings, in Buddhism, in fact, because it's a process where all of us have to go through, whether we like it or not, whether we prepared for it or not. It doesn't make a difference whether we are prepared or not, because no difference. Of course, there's a difference. What I mean is, whether or not we're prepared, we'll still have to go through it. That's what I'm trying to say. All right, we still have to go through it, and there's a huge difference. If we're prepared for it, then when we die, we have no regrets. Then when we die, we have no attachment. Then when we die, we will die a happy death. It's because there's some lamas that give teachings about death. We can die. There is a way of dying, of passing away happy, meaning light and easy, that you have done what you're supposed to do, that you have no regrets, that you have lived your life to the best of what you can to benefit others and yourself. All right? And most important, dying with as little attachment as we possibly can, because all of us definitely, I don't think we can die with no attachment at this point, but with as little attachments as possible, especially material attachments. The worst type of attachments we can have is material attachments, meaning we are worried about our car, we're worried about our house, our business, whether our property will fall into our daughter or son that we don't want it to go to, or a relative. All that doesn't really matter anymore. But if we have attachment, we cannot control ourselves. So this teaching of Lama Tsongkhapa's death, like any other Lama, Rinpoche's or any other Lama who passed away full control, teaches renunciation, teaches us the importance of it. All right, so I've come to the end. And so far, I've got not much comments from you guys. I hope it has been meaningful for you as it was for me. I love talking about Lama Tsongkhapa because, I mean, he is the founder of our tradition. He's an exceptional great master who showed many, many signs of someone who lived his life with full potential, of a great scholar, studied, mastered, and taught his students, and shown many miraculous signs, and established this tradition that we are benefiting from. And among his students, one of them eventually became a Dharma protector that protect the teachings, and he has brought you guys to Kachara, and he is, the probably your main practice. Lama Tsongkhapa is Lama Tsongkhapa and Dorje Shukden, right? When you do Dorje Shukden, definitely you have to do Guru Yuga Lama Tsongkhapa. So when we're praying to Lama Tsongkhapa, we should have some sort of reverence of who he is. As long as we know, the thing is we must know. Otherwise, when we do it, it's just empty prayers. All right, let me see any comments. Okay, very nice, Chung. You have a very good comment here. Pastor David, do you think that the ordeal Rinpoche went through before passing away was to absorb some of the karma of human beings from this surprise global pandemic that we are facing today? I actually don't think it was this pandemic. I felt it was Kachara. I felt it was the lineage, because Rinpoche, before he passed away, said it already. Just about, I can't remember exactly how many days or a week. I remember Rinpoche said, because the time before Rinpoche passed away, Trijang Rinpoche was giving Sokte life entrustment of Dorje Shukden. Okay? And he was very happy. Rinpoche was very happy, and he made a prayer. He told us openly that he said that, may the obstacles of this lineage come to me. He said that. And of course, without saying, he doesn't need to say that he will take the obstacles of Kachara. The obstacles of Kachara comes from who? It doesn't come from the building. Do you think the buildings in Sunway Mars and in Bentong in Kachara Forest Retreat has obstacles, has negative karma? No, the negative karma of the organization comes from all of us. All of us, me, Pastor David, you, Chung, you, May Ong, Kwai Jin, all you guys. All the negative karma of the organization comes from you guys who's practicing, who is coming to Kachara, who is volunteering, who is, sometimes you come, sometimes you don't come. It's from you guys. Where else is, definitely Rinpoche will take it on. Definitely, it's no doubt. All right? So, as in the pandemic is probably, I don't know. I've not heard Rinpoche made any aspiration about it, because it was not mentioned by Rinpoche. That one is Gangchen Rinpoche though. And, but Lama Michel had a very interesting take about it. It's got nothing to do with taking the karma away. He did say, I remember listening to his teaching, and he said it's not possible. It's something to do with merits when the Lama passes away. So it was not so important about this pandemic. It is more about this lineage. Why is the lineage has so much negative karma? Is because of how much it will benefit the practitioners. How much Kachara has affected you in this life, has benefited you, will extend into your future lives. Definitely 100%. So how much you practice will be how much you will be able to gain the benefit in your future lives, right? Okay, any other questions, guys? Thank you very much for joining us, or rather joining me and listening to me share with you. I almost said babble, but this is Lama Tsongkhapa's life story, so it's just too holy for me to use such a word, babble, all right? But I enjoyed talking about it, reading his story and explaining, and I hope it made a impact in your mind. It has helped you learn something more, gain a certain level of appreciation for who Lama Tsongkhapa is. Okay, so I've come to the end. Thank you very much, and I will do a dedication, and then we win, right? Janjun Sencho Rinpoche, Mahi Panagyu, Kebaya Mami Payang, Gonen Go to Power Show, Tony Tonga Rinpoche, Mahi Panagyu, Kebaya Mami Payang, Gonen Go to Power Show, Dasojin Sapagewadi, Tanandroa Gonlankapana, Cheba Jezo Lozon Trapa, Tamping Wood, the Sao Show, Kewa Gondo Yanalamanda, Jemmy Joki Pala Long Shoshin, Sadan Lanki on Terrachuni, Doji Changi Gopang Yutosho, Gewadi Yududa, Lama Sangeju, Chua Chika Malupa, De Sala Gobacho, Chuju Jabo Songkapa, Chusunama Pewala, Gekishamachi Wada. dan Tony Malo Shang Show, Dada Shaggy Dusunda, Jewish Latin, Gawalos and Trapa, Tampering Vagu, Ni Modella Santella, Neme Goyan Delection, Yasantatu Delapa, Contrason Jingulo, Contrasoing Motoso, Contrason Tashisho, Jazulama Kusoratan, Namkachi Nijugibadan, Losanta Major in Samsung, Drumus Tatuni Gushi, Gandhi Rawe Coalition Gamden, Penendel Malokian, Chenrezek, One Tanzan Yasoi, Shavi City Badu Den Guji, Hong Dobing Odru Malupa, Dendala Sadaso, Kodan Temple Ojana, Geba Suji, Shuk Den Sel. Thank you very much and good night, everybody.